So today we have to do a little bit of work to the rollback. The last time he used it, something happened to the PTO cable, and I mean it just moves freely, which it shouldn't. He is underneath right now trying to fix it. I'm not sure what you're doing because I can't see.
The PTO cable came out of the set screw, and there's like no room. See that? There's like no room in here to get in here, so I'm taking the whole arm off so that I can get to it. There's a lever that activates a PTO, so I'm taking off right there. The cable's supposed to go through that hole right there, but it's snapped off. So I figured we'd just take it out. I tried to push it through, but it wouldn't go, so take it out and take it on the bench and see what we can do there. So this thing here is supposed to turn. If you look on this side, the cable comes through this side back here, and that keeps it from coming back out. But since this isn't turning, that cable is in a bind, and that's probably why it broke, because the cable wasn't in bad shape. Yeah. This should be in all the way flat, and it's not. But you can see where the cables broke off. Right there. So now I gotta drive that cable out. Grab it here. I'll see if I can find a small wrench. Let's see.
You want my glasses? Hmm?
Hmm?
Do you want my glasses?
Find a better way to check this up. Yeah, I can't see nothing. Oh my.
Now I can't see anything. That's alright, I don't really have to.
Turn it the other way. I thought, ooh, look there.
I see something shiny.
Okay. Came out. So now, just gotta get that out. Jeez. Alright, so I'm gonna clean that up on the wire wheel, and I'll clean that up on the wire wheel. Works just fine. So you know what we'll do next? Never sees it too. I should have pulled that out too. Should have pulled that center out so I can never seize it. It's clean. see if we can get it put back in. You see that splined? So it allows me to adjust that wherever I need it within, you know, so many teeth. That way the throw is right, because we don't want it to go like start here and they have to go way past. We want it to be an equal angle here as it is disengaged and engaged. So I got to find that just the right spot. I'll put that in after I get it right. All right, back together. Let's see if it works like it's supposed to now. Alright, lever in gear, give it a pull. That works much better than it used to. And then I just bring the cruise up about 1200, about there. Oh yeah, she's engaged. Good deal. It broke on me the other day when I was on my dad's old boat to my son's place. So I had to get up underneath it and engage it while the truck was running and parked. It wasn't exactly ideal. Oh yeah, we're disengaged now. Good deal. Okay, one less thing to fix now, because we need this, because I'm gonna go look at another Chevy truck, LS engine. I want to replace the piston, the one piston, and nobody sells a single piston. They want $230 for a set of pistons for that. For factory stock pistons, only buy them as a set. That means then I have to have the old connecting rods pressed onto the new pistons. And I thought, well, part the truck out again, I'm okay with that, and just pull the pistons and connecting rods out that weren't ever damaged, you know, running fine. So I think that's what we're gonna do. Get this truck ready to go, and we'll go take a look at another truck, maybe get another engine. Well, that was a big waste. Guy said the truck had real low miles on it, and it ran and drove really well, but the second and third gear were out of the transmission. So I went and started the truck up. I wanted to let it run and idle and look at the oil pressure, get it up to temperature and all that. And he went over and shut it off. And I went over and I started it back up. It didn't run another 30 seconds, and he shut it off again. I said I'd like to let it run so I can see the oil pressure and let it get up to operating temperature. He goes, oh, it's low on gas, I don't want it to run out, because if you don't buy it, then it don't have any gas and everybody else can hear it run. I'm like, well, I can appreciate that. I said, but I'll tell you what, if I don't buy it and it runs out of gas, I will go up and get gas and I'll bring it back and I'll put it in here. I have no problem with that. And he goes, no, I don't want to let it run out of gas. I said, well, I'll tell you what, why don't I just go get some gas now, and I'll put gas in it, and then we can let it run. I'll make sure it's okay. And he goes, no. He goes, you know, I think I have another guy that wants this anyways. And I'm like, dude, what is it about this engine that you don't want me to find out right now? Because you obviously don't want to let it run. And he goes, well, the check engine light comes on after it runs for a while. I said, yeah, I'm not concerned about that. If that's your concern, let's just let it run. And he goes, yeah, but I don't want to hurt the motor. I said, check engine light's not going to hurt the motor. He goes, well, it could, and I don't want to do that. He said, if you want it, you got to buy it the way it is. And I put my scanner on it, and then I found the problem. Yeah. The reason the check engine light come on is it wasn't the check engine light, because as soon as I put my scanner on, it was just starting to warm up, and the engine oil pressure started to drop. The engine had low oil pressure. He just didn't want me to know that. So I passed on it. Now we're going to get us some metal. Go over to the place I buy my drops from and see what he's got over there. Well, I got some drops. He had quite a bit, and I got exactly what I needed for my trailer, so I'm pretty happy about that. So I'm gonna head home now. We'll get it unloaded. So here's the drops I got. I got a bunch of 1/8 inch stuff, a little bit of 1/4 inch. Got lots of diamond plate. I guess there's more 1/4 inch here than I thought. There's some 3/16 mixed in. It's gonna rain, so I'm gonna have to hurry up and get this unloaded. But all of this was less than the one sheet, and this sheet right here of 1/8 inch is 49 by 7 foot, so it's only had 1 foot cut off it, so not too bad. There's a better look at what I got. This is just under 1/8, or just at an 1/8. I think it's just under an 1/8. It's 4 foot wide by 7 foot tall, and then I got a bunch of this tread plate that is 10 feet tall. Step back here. Ended up with all this and all of this. There's a good bit behind here. Everything's stacked up. There's a lot of pieces in here. This is 1/8 inch here. And we got a bunch of tread plate here. I haven't decided what I'm going to use where yet, but there's a ton of metal here. And I paid basically what I would have paid for the one sheet to do the fender back, so I'm pretty happy about that. Now I just got to decide which thickness I want to go with. Just not sure right now.
Okay, so we're back to the trailer project. This is the fender, replacement fender that he got, and then we just got the steel yesterday, and he has it traced out, and he's going to cut it with the plasma cutter here. And this is a little bit thicker than they normally use on the fender backs because we wanted it to be strong. So he's getting his straight edge right now, and he's going to get cutting on it. I guess he got a heavy duty straight edge.
So I'm going to cut this radius here by hand, and I'm going to cut on the other side of my line so I can take the flap disc and clean it up to give me a good line. Maybe. So you can see just a bare trace of my line there, so let's see how well that works out. I just clamped it to this piece of wood so it's not flapping around all crazy. It's got an edge on the bottom I'll have to clean up too. So I'll take a little bit more out of there. And a little bit more out of this edge right there. It should be good. I'd be happy with that. Because we don't want it sitting exactly tight because we need it to be just down a little bit to get a weld in here. Well, maybe not. We could just do it on the back, I guess. So I was trying to get this fender put on, and I didn't want to take the time to change over the wire in the HTP welder because right now I have it set up with flux core wire and the regulator set up with the flow for doing a dual shield weld process, and the programming was in there because we're doing another frame stretch. And I didn't want to change that wire, so I thought, well, I'll just grab the Lincoln that I bought a while ago and I would use it. And when I was working on the mini truck a while ago, I bought that welder and I started welding with it, and I had really good results, and then all at once it started spitting and sputtering. And basically I put it off to the corner and went on with what I had to do. And then once we got, of course, we got the HTP welder, I haven't touched it since. So this welder has only had about a quarter of a roll of wire run through it, but it's doing this spit and sputtering thing. And I've checked all the connections for, you know, the gun control, the gun itself, the wire feed, check the tension, check the rollers, check the coil to make sure we weren't on wrong or anything, you know, the roll wire. And it still did the same thing. Doesn't matter where you're at on settings, what you're trying to weld, the same problem persists. It'll weld one time, it'll weld just fine. You'll let off the trigger, go do the next one, and it'll weld for a little bit, and then and all that, and you get a horrible weld. You can't weld with it. So now this welder was new. Like I said, I've only put maybe a fourth, I don't even think it's a third of a roll of wire through it yet. So I called the local weld shop that sells Lincolns, and you know, they charge X amount of dollars to look at it, and my warranty has expired because I bought it and I've hardly used it, and that's only due to the fact we got the HTP, and I really like that welder. So now I have to figure out what's going on with this one. So I went and picked up another gun from a friend of mine because he bought one of these the same time I did, and he's never used his. He bought it so he could learn how to weld and take care of some of his own stuff, and he's just never actually gone to it. So we're gonna put this gun on here. I thought it might have been a liner problem, so I held the gun out straight, the whole entire gun and the length of the lead out straight, and tried to weld with it, and I was having the same problem. So I want to eliminate the fact that it's a gun or the liner and make sure it's not in something internal here, because there's a pin that goes in the roll that spins as your drive roll is pushing the wire, and she says sometimes that stops. So I don't know if it's a problem internally, but we want to eliminate that first. So I'm going to try this gun real quick, swap it out, and see what we can do. Well, I should have done this on the inside and outside on the other one before I welded. I didn't figure this out, and I don't know why I didn't think of it, but these fenders came from Tractor Supply. They must put a coating on here so they don't rust while they're in the store, and it made all kinds of porosity in the welds, and you know, it was just awful. I'll show you what I'm talking about. It was just, look at this. You see this white stuff here? Look how horrible this is. There's all this crud, and it just wouldn't come out. I just couldn't get a good weld on it, but whatever. I guess I'll know for next time. I don't know why I didn't think of that when it first wasn't going well. I thought I didn't have the welder set up right, but I guess I just didn't have the metal prepped well enough. I don't know what that is. You see these white streaks here? This is the kind of crap that it was leaving after I welded it. So I made sure to clean this. Now we're going to weld it to the trailer, and then there'll be braces right in this area, so I'll have to clean that off. They're not galvanized, we know that. They're just steel fenders. Anyways, let's get them on there. So I got the fenders in here, and we struggled with this a little bit because I knew when I was putting my back in, I knew this fender was deformed and I couldn't push this out. When we got this fender was inside the other one, and it had two dips, a dip here and a dip here. This one wasn't as bad as this side over here, and we tried to manipulate it before as I put my back in. I just couldn't get it any straighter. So that's all we're gonna get. It's as good as it's gonna get, and I got it all welded in. And I told myself before I put this bracket back in, because we had to move these because these fenders are slightly different, I told myself I was going to go ahead and flap this before I weld this bracket in. Yeah, well, I didn't. I forgot, so I had to take a cutting wheel in there. You can see the soot, the contamination that was in there. It's just white crusty stuff, and it just makes for hard welds. You know, it makes it real difficult to weld. And same thing back here. And this is a pretty good example of showing you. It gives you a porosity, like these little pinhole at the very end. You know, I just couldn't get it clean enough. It's a trailer. It'll be fine. So it's welded on the inside. The backer's welded at every hole right there, same thing as how that 2x2 is welded. So the weld inside corresponds with that everywhere, all the way down. So it's not too bad. I wish we could have got this bow out of it, these 2 dips, but it's the best we can get, so we'll live with it. Now, the one thing left is they originally had a piece of angle right in here, and I've been thinking about that. Why did they have that there? Why did they have that there? I thought, well, maybe it was to strengthen this, and then I thought, well, maybe it was to tie in the top rail kind of to the bottom rail, because I don't know. I don't know why you'd put it there for that backer, but so I think I'm gonna go ahead and put that in. I'm gonna cut me a couple pieces of angle iron and put in there real quick, just to put it back the way it was. But I'm okay with it. Yeah, here's some of that soot, some more of that you can see on the back side. So before we paint this, we're gonna have to flap this the whole thing. At least I got underneath here good, you know, so that's all handled. But we'll have to flap this and clean it down, wipe it down real good, and then we'll put 2 coats of primer, 2 coats of paint. Then we're going to use what's called chip guard. It's kind of like orange peel, rock guard on the bottom of your car. We're going to paint anything forward facing like this that sticks out, all the fender all the way across, and of course anything that we, you know, haven't, or that is a fresh weld and bare. And then same thing on the inside here. We're going to paint this with chip guard too after it's painted. That way we can have something a little more durable when we, you know, rubbing against tires, rubbing against the inside, and then stones and rocks and dirt hitting the fenders going down the road. But that's where we're at right now. Oh yeah, we're gonna put that chip guard on the front too. It's gonna go on the tongue, it's gonna go on here, because these are always chewed up all the way across the front. We'll do this whole thing in chip guard. Should be good. Should make it help and last. So I guess now we'll get on to this, because I don't want to do anything else till the fenders are complete and painted. I gotta take a flat disc to the welds over there and see if I can clean them up. They're just awful. Well, I think I got it figured out. This was my buddy's gun. I put it on, and the machine worked like it was supposed to. Not one flaw, never spit, sputtered, nothing like it was with my gun in. So that told me it was something in my gun. Now remember, I told you I already replaced the liner inside my gun. I replaced the tip, and I replaced the part that the tip screwed into, just because I felt like either that wire is getting stuck in there, or we are turning on and off. Something's not right. And what I ended up finding out when I took his back off, I was comparing it to mine, and I looked at the connections inside here, and you see those 2 pins right there, how they're even. They're both the same depth down. Mine wasn't like that. Mine, one of them was lower than the other, because the locking tabs that are way down in there weren't snapped in, and I could push them up, but they wouldn't lock and stay there. So I took both the pins out of the connector on mine, and I spread them locking tabs a little bit more, and then snapped them up into place, and it was a real good positive snap. So I felt confident that was in there well. I hooked it back up, and it's been welding just like it's supposed to. I fought myself on this because I kept thinking I was doing something wrong, because it's a new machine. It hasn't had a lot of, I've only got maybe a quarter to a third of a roll of wire run through this machine, and I've been fighting this problem shortly after I got it. So I just couldn't believe it was in the machine. I thought I was doing something wrong, but you know, you can't fight your gut. When your gut tells you, sometimes you just better pay attention to it. But I don't use this machine. It sits off in the corner. 1, because I had a problem. 2, because I got the HTP. And I'll be brutally honest with you, I'm going to continue to use the HTP, because the HTP makes my welds look so much better than my abilities. So I'm going to stick with this. I'm going to continue to use this one, and I'm probably going to just sell that one off. My wife has decided we need a side-by-side. So I'm in the market for a side-by-side, so this trailer is going to be relevant again. It's funny how life changes. I first started getting back on this, telling you we don't need it anymore. Now all of a sudden we need it, so I better get at it. I have taken a flap disc to these fenders, and I took a wire wheel to it, and I took acetone and wiped it all down. That is after I added a piece of angle iron in there. I guess that's the, I don't know. I don't know if they are just trying to bridge the gap from right there where that load is up to the top rail, but I made it fit tight, so if that's what it's for, you know, it's in there. And I got this side done too, and I don't like rattles, I really don't, so I added quite a few welds across the bottom of this. because I just didn't want to hear that thing rattling going down the road. And I got several welds. I don't know if you can see that well or not, but whatever. We are ready for primer and paint. I don't have any. I am completely out of primer right now, so we're gonna have to go get some. And I think we're gonna cut it off right here, and when we come back, we'll primer and paint these. I am gonna use rock guard, chip guard, what you use on your rockers of your vehicle, on anything forward facing, all the fenders and all that, like I said before, because I have 5 cans of that stuff. So we're gonna use that. Hopefully there's enough to do all the fenders, inner, outer, and the insides and the front of the trailer, I hope. Got a lot of masking to do to get ready. Got to wipe down the top rail. I forgot all about that. So thanks for watching, guys. Get you on the next one.